second to put on your headsets, because my joke is going to be very difficult to understand. Noriko, our marketing lady, she's the lead for us. She's in the room. If you want to know how to promote our 2018 .next, you should use the photo Kikuchi-san used. Because if you see the photo, you'll see the big sign there, advertised for Larry Flint, his strip club. So looks like Nissho knows how to get Japanese people to attend the conference.
I didn't notice it.
Yeah, well, you should look at the photo. The first thing says it's a strip club. So that's not the kind of conference we have, just so you know, OK? Look, thank you so much. We have almost an hour. And I'll make sure that we will make it entertaining and informative at the same time. Instead of just doing some presentations, we'll also switch and do some demos. So you can also see what we are talking about and how real it is. Let me show a quick show of hands. How many of you know Nutanix and know us as the hyper-converged company? OK. Looks like everyone. That's good. That's how we have been. What I want to do today is to move the conversation forward and show you where the world is going and how we are going to get there. And don't get me wrong. Hyper-converged is important. We are going to aggressively compete on it. And we want to convert every three-tier architecture to hyper-converged, because that is the future. Very soon, there will be NVMe and 3D crosspoint flash architecture coming out. 3D crosspoint is almost 1,000 times faster than today's SSD. So even if you put 100 gigabit network, the network will be slower. So you cannot have a three-tier architecture work with those kind of architecture. So compute and storage coming together is the way of the future. That is how data centers will be built. It will be software defined. It will be flat. However, not all hyper-converged are built the same. Look, this building is a tall building. I'm sure the foundation of this building is really deep. That's why it can sustain wind when it hits this tall building. Our hyper-converged was always built as the foundation to sustain a large building. I know every other vendor now talks about hyper-converged. Today, in the next 1 hour, we will not talk about the foundation. We will talk about the building. We will tell you why we built the hyper-converged with the web scale architecture. We will talk about why we built Acropolis. We will talk about why we did not build our management interface inside VMware. So, without further ado, let's get started. I want to spend a few minutes talking about where we were. And then we will go to where we are going to go. We know the world of cloud is around. 2009, when Nutanix started, we knew Amazon, Azure, Google, they are going to change the way computing is consumed. However, we knew that the world will not be all about public cloud. Just like you can buy a car, rent a car, lease a car, take an Uber, take a taxi, people want different consumption models. So how do you bring a public cloud-like architecture inside the data center? We knew that customers, when the workloads are predictable, it is better to own. When it is unpredictable, it is better to rent. So how do we build the equation to be similar? Whether you buy or rent, can you not think about compute, storage, network, hypervisor, management tool, load balancing, security, microsegmentation, LUNs, backup? I can keep going. It is complex on-prem. We simplified it to make it look almost like public cloud. Almost. We allow customers to start small, start quickly, and pay as you grow. We have done that. However, I do not claim that Nutanix is equal to public cloud. Public cloud still has a place. Today, we're going to talk about where else are we going from here. What's the next step in this journey? We started with this architecture in 2009. In 2012, Nissho was our first partner to bring this technology to Japan. And we focused on core data center, VDI, Oracle, SQL Server. 3 years ago, we expanded with Prism Central to what we call distributed cloud. Today, with Nutanix and Prism Central, you can manage hundreds of sites and upgrade, manage, monitor at the same time. We announced a number of different features in terms of performance, capacity, replication factor, speed of RPO, a lot of things. Today, I'm not going to touch on all of that. If you are interested in the details of it, please do reach out to your partner, Nissho, and they will set up a briefing. Today's time, I want to spend focused on the distribution and 3 major things we announced. You also know that in the last few months, Nutanix announced our software to be completely available on pretty much every platform that you choose. We are a software company, and we are widely available. But having said that, I want to look forward. I want to talk about 3 major things that we believe are going to change the way computing is consumed in every single data center. First one, expanding to intelligent edge. You could be a financial company. You could be in defense. You could be in government, healthcare, manufacturing, retail, doesn't matter. IoT is here. Let me paint the picture of how edge and intelligent edge are different. Let me show you with a story of why it is important to decouple where the data lives and where the data is acted on, used on. Imagine there are a few drones flying in a war zone, let's say Afghanistan. The drones are flying, and they happen to spot a group of people. Now, the drone can see the people, but it doesn't know whether it's friends or enemies. To recognize whether they are friends or enemies, they need to have access to the database. maybe the CIA database that is living in Virginia. Virginia is almost maybe 10,000 miles away from Afghanistan. If you don't have that data immediately available, this drone either cannot take the action or take the wrong action, which could be really costly. How do you deliver the right data to the right node at the right time so that the right action can happen? This is extremely important. This is similar to every business. It doesn't have to be defense. It could be an ambulance driving into an accident scene. The EMT, the medical technician who carries the bag, would be better served, the patient, if he or she has the medical information of that patient immediately available. An ATM for a financial company, it is much better if you can deliver customized and personalized experience to the consumer with the right data. It is important to deliver the right data to the right node at the right time in the secure, most possible way. This is what we call intelligent edge. Now, there is a difference between edge and intelligent edge. This is the core data center. This is the intelligent edge, and this is the edge. For example, in case of that ambulance, the medical technician walking could be the edge. The ambulance will be the intelligent edge. If you're drilling for oil, the drill is the edge with the sensors. The rig will be the intelligent edge. In a manufacturing situation, a car could be the edge. The factory could be the intelligent edge. It is important to tie the entire thing for both data and control. It is important to make sure that the right data is pushed without any manual intervention in a secure way, the right amount of data. And once the information is acted on, the knowledge needs to be passed back so that the deep learning and machine learning can happen in the core. So that's why data fabric needs to be together. It is important to have control fabric together or management fabric because it's possible that one of the rig, one of the terminal, or one of the drone may be running an older operating system, and maybe there is a security issue. It could be a car, it could be an ATM. How do you make sure, sitting in the data center, you can press a button and upgrade all the drones, all the ambulances? Nutanix announced our entry into intelligent edge with form factors that supports drones, cars, Humvees, and a lighter version of operating system that connects all the way from core to the edge, including management capabilities. This is an extremely essential way of the future, and every business will have need that needs to be met. Problem today is that the operating systems are built either for humans to communicate with machines, like iOS, like Windows, or operating systems that are built for computers to talk to computers. But the scale with which the data is going to be gathered, you don't have an operating system that can connect an Internet of Things all the way from core to distributor to intelligent edge. That needs to be built because data is gathered here, but deep learning happens in the middle, and the learned knowledge needs to be pushed out and brought back consistently and continuously. We announced our expansion with lighter version of the operating system, heavier nodes, also lighter nodes which supports even 1 node and 2 node clusters. This is the first thing we announced, and we had customers on stage to talk about it. Now, this enterprise cloud operating system that connects the core, the distributed, and the edge is the essence of how we expect private cloud to be. But it's not just about technology, it's also about delight. It's about user experience. In that context, the theme that we are going for is one operating system that connects everything with a one-click experience, whether your operating system is running in a data center or in 1,000 different cars. This is the essence of how we are defining the private cloud. Now, we are not foolish enough or arrogant enough to say everything will be Nutanix. This is a multi-cloud world, and there are reasons to have experience with every other option that you may have. Sometimes customers may want to experience Azure. Sometimes it is Amazon. Sometimes it is on-prem. Sometimes it is Google Compute. Today the problem, though, is that the cloud itself is built as a one-way street. And what I mean by one-way street is that it is built so that you can go, but you cannot come back. And each one of the cloud is proprietary. You cannot have a multi-cloud world in a proprietary island-driven architecture. We believe to change that model, you have to elevate the vantage point to applications. You have to start looking down from applications and let the applications figure out which infrastructure should it run on. Nutanix announced Nutanix CALM, which stands for Cloud Application Lifecycle Management. Along with that, we are introducing a concept of marketplace. Think of it like an app store or a Google Play Store. We want your existing Mode 1 and Mode 2 applications to be ported into this app store and let the applications figure out where it should be running at any given point in time. I'll give you an example. Imagine there is an application that runs every Friday. It's an invoicing app. It ran last Friday. It ran the Friday before. Last Friday, it did not have enough memory. But this Monday, there was a new node that got added, and that new node has a lot of memory. But it's running a useless application. Why can't the system wake up on Thursday night, do some predictive analytics, and say there is a higher probability that this app will run again on Friday, and last Friday it did not have enough memory, so I am going to look at that new node, remove that app, move this one to that, and make sure the right app is running on the right node at the right time for the best optimal performance. You don't need a human being sitting in between application and infrastructure as long as you have a web scale-based architecture underneath it. You have analytics-capable metadata running around it. You cannot do that on any hyper-converged architecture except for Nutanix. Whether you're running on-prem or off-prem, we want the system to predict the best place to run it. For example, as a retailer, maybe Christmas time is very busy for you. You don't know whether you need 5x or 10 times more performance. Or if you're a financial company, maybe tax time. Can you make sure that the system runs 10 months on your own infrastructure and for 2 months on a rented infrastructure and back based on the system's own capabilities, whether it runs on-prem or on any cloud? Can you make sure that you have a single way to operate them, orchestrate them, manage them, so that you are not locked in to any specific cloud? This is the essence of true hybrid architecture for multi-cloud. Right cloud for the right cloud workload. At this point, I would invite Anjan to help me with a quick demo of Calm.
Thank you, Sudheesh.
Your mic is not on.
Thank you, Sudheesh.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. So if we can switch the display, you can see here we have what we call the Prism Central. Prism Central is our management interface that we use to manage multiple clusters. So if you had a data center and a remote branch office cluster, we could manage all of that through Prism Central. You could also do many tasks like upgrades all through Prism Central interface. But what Sudheesh was talking about is elevating the conversation from virtual machines to applications. And with that, we are going to be introducing a new tab in Prism Central. This tab is called the Apps tab. When you go into Prism Central Apps, you will find a marketplace. This marketplace consists of all the applications that the IT has created and put a blueprint of that application. Each application can be defined to run on multiple clouds. In this case, the Kubernetes app is available on Nutanix clusters, Google Cloud, and on Amazon. And the user is also able to see the number of virtual machines needed in this application and the resources that these virtual machines will consume on the infrastructure. When you click on the Management tab, it gives you all the activities you can perform on this blueprint. So scaling out your application and growing your application to support larger load is a simple click of a button using the Marketplace Prism Central app. But in case you don't have an application that you're looking for, Prism Central will also provide you a way to go and create new blueprints. You will be able to create services based on your application architecture and link them together, and then be able to apply policies on which cloud it can run.
Let me add something here. One of the new buzzwords in DevOps is infrastructure as code. But a lot of IT people don't know or don't want to write code or maintain code. Calm, Anjan just visually wrote code, and it is maintained, versioned, and managed through the app.
So as you can see, you can visually design your application blueprint and apply policies to it in a very easy manner and publish that into the marketplace. Once you have a setup that is running and people are using your blueprints, Prism Central will also allow you to visualize the applications that are running, but more importantly, the cost that you would incur to run that application depending on the number of hours that it needs to run on a Nutanix private cloud or any other public cloud of your choice. The IT also can then monitor which teams are consuming how much budget. This really provides an opportunity for IT to become a shared service provider and manage both SLA and cost for the company. Sudheesh, back to you.
Thank you. An extremely important point here is that the system looks back at the pattern, predicts the future usage, use the pricing API from different cloud vendors, and recommend the best cloud platform to run on and what it would cost you. That is powerful. Another example is about scale up. You saw Anjan drag and drop, create an app, 3-tier app, let's say. Load balancer, web server, database, middleware. And you have 100 users. Now, if you want to go to 1,000 users, the system will predict you need 8x more capacity on database, 10x on web servers, 12x on load balancers, all automatically provisioned, scale up and scale down. It changes the way you think about infrastructure. Infrastructure becomes invisible. Coming back to the theme, that was about multi-cloud. That tells you that private cloud that we have built is not everything. Sometimes you need public cloud, but whether you are on public or private, can you manage everything from a single place? Now let me talk to you about the third item and the final item we are going to talk about today. Hybrid cloud is something everyone thinks about. But let me propose to you that the idea of how you think of hybrid cloud today in enterprise is broken. Let me propose something that is better that you already know. Imagine how Apple sells cloud. Apple doesn't sell you iCloud. They don't care. They ask you, would you like to have unlimited music? Would you like to keep taking photos even if you run out of capacity? Would you like to use Siri? Because Siri will answer all your questions. When you say yes to Siri, when you say yes to space on photos, when you say yes for unlimited music, you consume cloud. Cloud is abstracted out from applications through an abstraction layer that is clever enough that you never think about the cloud, but you enjoy the application through the device. You never spend time thinking where the device ends, where the cloud begins. That is a beautiful architecture. In Apple Photos, when you go to album, you don't know whether the photo is from cloud or from the device. Why can't the enterprise architecture have a similar hybrid cloud approach? Let me explain the problem in the enterprise context. Let's say you have data centers that you own, data centers that are public cloud. Typically, the way it works today, traditional mode 1 applications are running on-prem, and mode 2 applications are running off-prem. They are supposed to be cloud-native apps. Right? The way you typically deploy this, most mode 1 app and some mode 2 apps are running inside the data center. And if you want to move anything off to public cloud, it requires actual application refactoring, lift and shift. It's not easy. Even if you do it, at the end of it, you end up with different tools, different economics, different SLAs, different support, different skill set, different people, different networking, different APIs. Everything is different. What kind of hybrid is that? It is not invisible. It is front and center. We announced that Nutanix is entering public cloud space for the first time. Our public cloud is called Xi. Now, the question is, HP killed their public cloud initiative, Helion. Cisco killed their public cloud initiative, Intercloud. VMware killed vCloud Air. Why do we think that Nutanix has any chance to succeed? The big three are killing everybody. I'm not standing here and saying that we're going to win. However, I do think we have a shot. Just like 6 years ago when we said storage as a separate island needs to die, the market did not believe in us. But we changed the perception by changing storage into a software. 3 years ago when we said hypervisor cannot be bought and paid for and managed and licensed separately, market didn't believe us. Today, 22% of our customers are on Acropolis, which is a hypervisor that is included. Storage became invisible. Hypervisor became invisible. We think there is an opportunity to make public cloud invisible. And here is how we are thinking this differently. You have two different data centers, the ones you own, the ones you rent. Typically, the way it works is that the data center that you own are different from the one you rent. Is it possible for you to rent a similar kind of data center through services? Instead of selling it as public cloud, we are approaching this market through applications and services that are enabled through cloud. Let me explain that. Think of public cloud that we are selling Xi services through three different things. Number one, nothing changes when it comes to how it is architected. The same infrastructure with our web scale technology gets enabled. Here it's important though. It is not like we are taking the Nutanix, putting it in a data center and renting it out to you. It's not that simple. More than 3 years, our engineers have been working on this engineers from Facebook, Google, and others, we reimagined multi-tenancy, manageability, networking, security, performance, latency management, a complete stack of software, everything managed from a single UI. In this case, it allows you to have the entire stack managed from a same Prism. You simply go to Prism and select a service that you want to be enabled by swiping it right. Just like how you do on iPhone, you enable iCloud. Imagine, let's say there's a production VM that you need to have DR. You select and enable it. System will automatically manage the DR for it. It is one-click services, and the first service we are releasing is Xi Disaster Recovery Services. I know disaster recovery is an extremely important topic in Japan. Today, most customers have primary data center they own, secondary they own. Most people sort of think it might work, but no one knows for sure whether it works. It is costly, it is unreliable, and it is complex. What if primary is something you own and secondary is something that you rent, but most importantly, the entire experience is managed as a native feature from the same user interface? Your management tool is now on Prism, which is on cloud. It's always available. If primary goes down, within minutes the secondary starts serving. You can fail over and fail back within minutes. You can do the testing on a weekend. This is how we think we can approach this market. So this is the first service. That doesn't mean we will not have other services. As part of this, we are announcing our relationship with Google, where our services will be running also on Google data centers. Today, this service is announced to be available in GA in North America, but we are actively looking for partnership to bring this service to Japan. With this, I'm going to ask Anjan to help us play a short video and explain how Xi services are going to run. We cannot do a live demo, so he's going to play a video and explain it.
So what you're seeing on this video is the same Prism interface where we have a bunch of applications that are tagged. We can actually tag applications. You don't have to remember them by name. And here we are creating a protection domain that's called Platinum. And you can actually filter your virtual machines that need to be protected by category. And so you can select application type. Here we are selecting Oracle DB and the employee payroll. And we select that.
You may want to stop.
And that's the protection domain that's been created. Now,
sorry,
yeah.
With the translation, I just want to make sure you saw not all apps, but the important app. But most importantly, you saw your existing legacy Mode 1 apps, SQL Server, Oracle, payroll, whatever. He simply selected and said, DR, continue.
And the steps that you saw is all you need to do in order to protect your VMs. Now, we know that when you're using Nutanix today, your DR is already quite simple. But as Sudheesh mentioned, we are taking it to the next level of simplicity, where it is just a click of a button. And as you saw, with a few clicks, we were able to add the protection domain, and the rule got created. So now this is on the Prism Central side. Now we are going to log on to the Xi portal. You simply log in with your user credentials. And the Xi portal gives you all your consumption metrics. You may have other protection that is running. And when you look at the runbooks, and you can look at an update on these runbooks, you will see that all of the stuff that you were doing in the past is now reflected on your Xi portal. You can see that the runbook testing has happened a few times before. And currently, synchronization tasks are in progress for the protection domain that you just created for Platinum. You can now go back to your virtual machines and see that all of your virtual machines are now protected. And the protection rule of Platinum has been applied to it. So this shows you how simple and elegant the Xi service is going to be for protecting virtual machines and providing a very robust DR solution when you need it. Thanks, Sudheesh.
What you did not see is Anjan changing the IP address, shutting down this, replicating this, managing that, changing IP back, configuring DNS, pinging it. Networking, runbook automation, security, everything is transparently done. And this UI is running on production. If your primary is down, you can always come back to the secondary. And when primary comes back, you can fail back. This, we believe, is an architecture that will allow customers to truly enjoy hybrid experience. So now that I talked about those three things, let me try to explain why this company, Nutanix, is moving fast on innovation. Look, I think hyper-converged as a market is just maturing. Right? I know most of you probably still have a lot of three-tier architecture. EMC storage, HP servers, Cisco switches, VMware, all of that. This year, for the first time, Gartner is expected to come out with a hyper-converged Magic Quadrant. Nutanix is by far the market leader, and we have amazing OEM relationships with Lenovo, Dell EMC, and we also announced IBM. Why are we changing things so fast? Why don't we relax a little bit and enjoy the leadership in hyper-converged? Because the times have changed. Things has to be innovated really fast. In the next couple of years, you will hear a lot of noise in the market. Let's say you're sitting in a great restaurant that you like, and there is a music being played that you like. But there is so much noise, you cannot hear the new music. Market is like that. I strongly request that you reach out to our partners and customers and talk to them and understand how it is important to stay and look at the history to understand the velocity and quality that needs to be delivered. Let me show you some data points. We delivered tremendous amount of features. I did not touch a bunch of things that we announced. 2-node turbo mode, which is extremely high performance. NVMe storage nodes that we announced. Migration services, amazing. You can point and click, and your existing VMs and existing database will be automatically migrated. File services, block services, UCS support, network automation. We announced a lot of features. Velocity is something that we do very, very well. You need a technology innovation partner with high velocity on your side. You don't need another vendor. If you have been with Nutanix, you know that we have demonstrated very high velocity innovation. If you are new to Nutanix, talk to some of our customers and they will tell you. But speed is good. Speed without quality is bad. If you look at as our number of shipments have gone up, number of defects found by customers have flatlined or stabilized. This is the number of customers, and if you look at the net promoter score, we went from 85 or so to 91 as the number of customers have increased. Our customer support quality has gone up when we added more customers. That's not by accident. That's because we use analytics, tools, and people together. You need a customer. As a customer, you should demand a vendor who can deliver high quality with high velocity in today's world. Let me summarize a lot of things that we talked about and why it is important for you to look at Nutanix and our partners as you experience any business that business is moving through technology disruption cycle. When Tesla announced electric car, they didn't just announce an electric car. Because remember, when you release a car like this, there are not enough batteries in the world. They had to go build a battery factory, spend $5 billion building that. But even if they do it and build the car, if you go from Tokyo to Hokkaido, you will run out of charge. So you have to build supercharging technology and charging station in all of Japan. And even if you do it, you don't have enough power sometimes. So Tesla went out and built a new solar tile as a roof, because everyone needs a roof. It's a continuous stream of technology disruption that they brought. They bring an ecosystem. They build a platform. They build an operating system. When you look at this picture, you see sun shining, a solar roof, a battery pack, and an electric car. That is an operating system that they've built across the board. It is not easy, but they solve the problem the right way. Nutanix, when we started, we were inspired by the fact that Tesla decided to go all in. That's why Tesla is now more valuable than BMW or Ford. When we started, I remember a lot of customers asked us, why don't you use the EMC storage or NAS that is there? Why don't you use VMware? Why don't you connect to vCenter? We already know it. We didn't do it because we knew there's a problem that needs to be solved the right way in multi-cloud and hybrid cloud. We are exposing hyper-converged as the foundation with enterprise cloud operating system for the private cloud. We announced 3 things, like I said. The first thing, the private cloud and the public cloud brought together to serve. We know customers need this. But whether you are on-prem or off-prem, is it possible for you to manage everything from the same prism? That is a new way of doing hybrid. But when you really need public cloud, is it possible for you to let the application control that from a marketplace? That is Nutanix Calm. With partnership with Google, we are expanding our Xi services, Kubernetes services, and other IoT-related deep learning and machine learning capabilities. So the 3 services that we announced, are all essential for tomorrow's architecture. Intelligent edge, rebooted hybrid, and automated multi-cloud. That is how we decided to go all in with the right architecture, solve the right problem. When you look at this room, you see customers who probably have gone from 3-tier architecture to Nutanix. If you have not, you should think about it. If you have tried, I would highly recommend that you give Acropolis a shot, because Acropolis, VMware is a good product, but Acropolis is built for containers, multi-cloud, and hybrid cloud. The security is different. Think about Calm if you already experienced Acropolis. Think about Nutanix as a way to go outside of the data center to the intelligent edge. It is time, in our view, for our customers to seriously consider to go all in with Nutanix. Thank you. Thank you so much.